Hey everybody, Jeff with Kev the Camper. Well, today we're doing a water heater service. This is a Suburban 6-gallon water heater. We're doing a anode rod, flush, and then we're also going to replace the pressure temperature relief valve. And it's a 2002 Lance truck camper. Should get some pretty good stuff out of it. The first thing I'm going to do is spray this temperature pressure relief valve with some penetrating lubricant, and that way kind of helps loosen some of that stuff up around it. This is the product I've been using for, well, about a year and a half now, and you can get this stuff at Lowe's or Amazon. I can put some links down below for all this stuff that I'm using on this water heater service, but I'm going to spray a little bit of this just around the base there. Let it kind of penetrate in there, and let that sit for an hour or so, and then we'll go ahead and pop that. We'll drain we'll pull out the anode obviously and drain it. So I've got a bucket here because a couple of reasons why I like to catch the water. One, so it doesn't make a huge mess, and two, so you can kind of see what was in there and show your customer, client, if they want to see it, what was inside their water heater. A couple of other things I do when I'm in here is I check the seals to make sure that everything is sealed properly, that there's no leaks. So you've got your another penetration here for the DSI, the spark. So just make sure that the silicone, whatever they use, this is high temp stuff, and it should be high temp stuff on this as well. But just make sure all the seals are good. And of course over here we've got a Suburban anode rod, and we've got Camco replacement temperature pressure relief valve. So I'll put a link to both of these things in the description. So this is a pretty inexpensive and quick service to do. You can do it yourself. I do quite a few of these as you know, an RV repair and service company, but I'm going to show you how to do it if you want to do it yourself. You know, I'll link to all the parts that you need below, and just follow these steps. You know, it's pretty straightforward if you've got a little bit of mechanical ability. It's not that big a deal. You should do it once a year. All right, so we're going to go ahead and relieve the pressure, if there is any. Just flip that open. Okay, so that's pressure's relieved there. We can go ahead and loosen up the drain / anode rod and flush it out. So you might find a whole bunch of different sizes on these anode rods. This one happens to be 1 1/8 inch. So I've just got my 1 1/8 socket here. Break it loose. All right, go ahead and remove that. This is where I like to have my bucket under here so I can catch all the stuff. Once it's loose, then I can just thread it out by hand. Anode rod doesn't look too bad. It's just about done draining. You want to leave your pressure relief valve open, that way, you know, air can come into it and it drains faster. Otherwise it's going to kind of glug and get all over the place. We caught most of the water, and you can see there's a bunch of gunk in there. So it needs cleaning for sure. All right, so for the pressure relief valve, I've got this little tool. You can pick these up anywhere, Lowe's, Home Depot, Amazon. And this one's got a 7/8 inch hex on the back, so you can just throw a socket on it. And once it kind of goes around like that, gets on there, then it'll grab that nozzle and you can spin it off. All right, so you might need a breaker bar to break this loose. I broke it loose with that end of this little extension here. And once you got it broken loose, it'll just spin until it's loose enough to get by hand. So the reason why I'm changing out this pressure relief valve is, well, number one, it's somebody put a wrench on it and smashed it. But two, it was not opening and closing properly at pressure. So it was actually leaking when the tank was, you can see, when I lift this up, I don't know, maybe you can see that. But it's not really moving. It's because it's been crushed with a wrench. So, yeah, see how that's oblong? And it's corroded in there, but that's what the new one, that's what it's supposed to look like. So we'll inspect the threads, get out any gunk that might be in there. I might kind of hone that out with a wire brush a little bit, get some of that old seal tape off, and clean up those threads and then put the new one in. So just a little tip, if you are replacing the pressure relief valve while you're flushing out your system, obviously not everybody's going to be replacing their relief valve, but I'm going to go ahead and flush the tank with both of these holes open. That way I can flush it from the top and from the bottom, and you know, try to get as much stuff out as possible. There's already quite a bit. You can see there's a lot of stuff down in there. So definitely needed it. So I've got this flush tool that I made just out of a nozzle. It's got an on-off. I can fill that tank up. There's still lots of stuff coming out. Chunks of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff like that coming out, some big pieces. Lots of crud. We'll give it a couple more flushes. So you want to keep flushing it out until you don't see any more stuff coming out. So I've flushed it. This is about the 4th or 5th time I've flushed it. Yeah, 5th time, and I'm not seeing any new stuff come out. So I'm going to call that clean. So this flush tool I made, it's just a hose nozzle, you know, regular spray nozzle, and an 18-inch piece of 5/8 inch drip line, and a hose clamp. So it's just clamped on there, and I can unclamp it and use the nozzle. So I use this also to fill up my freshwater tank. from the outside as well, just because it's got, you know, the easy on off, and it goes down in there real good, and it stays in place, so which is really nice. Just like that. So just loosen up the hose clamp. This is just compression fit on there, and then slide the hose clamp up over the top of it and clamp it down. All right, so you don't have to do this, but I like to use this pipe thread paste, a sealer. Put a little bit, it's already got some tape on there, but I like to put a little bit of this paste on as well. Not very much, but just to get the threads sealed up. Doesn't take a whole lot. All right, get this thing installed. All right, so I got these threads cleaned up, and obviously it just goes in opposite of how we took it out. And of course we'll go with both hands and make sure we've got it all the way in there good and snug. All right, and you'll know when you've got it positioned right, when you've got it tight enough, it just won't go any tighter. And you got to make sure that obviously the opening's facing down. We'll kind of clean up some of this extra thread sealant. And now we can get our anode rod installed. Okay, so we've got the new magnesium anode rod. Let's slide it on in. Get started here. Make sure you don't cross thread. All right, and we'll finish tightening that up. All right, so that's tight. This one was a 27 millimeter or 1 1/16 inch. Well, the old one was 1 1/8 inch. So yeah, just make sure that you've got a couple of different wrench sizes in case when you switch out this anode rod, the fitting to tighten it up is most likely going to be a different size. So obviously the wrench that fits the pressure relief valve, all these are the same. Well, I should say the wrench fits a variety of these. You want to make sure that you do, when you purchase the new pressure relief valve, that it's the correct pressure and temperature. So this one, if I can get that to focus, is 150 psi, 210 degrees Fahrenheit, which matches the old one. All right, so what's left to do on this is put some water in it, make sure that we have the water heater filled up to where it needs to be, the level it needs to be, and fire it up, make sure we don't have any leaks, and make sure that when we flip the pressure relief valve, that water comes out, and when we turn it back off, water does not come out. So then we know that that's functioning properly. And to say that that needed to be cleaned is an understatement. There was a lot of gunk in there. All right, we've got the pump running, filling the tank, let some pressure out. No leaks down there, but of course we're not super pressurized yet. All right, so the pump just turned off. Guess we got water coming out now. And no leaks. Let's fire it up and get it pressurized. All right, let's fire up this water heater. See what we got. Up and then we'll check for leaks. All right, it's been about a half hour this thing turned off. And no leaks at the anode. And no leaks at the pressure relief valve. So that's good. So we got the water temperature at 121. That's, you don't want to be, you know, they're supposed to be set for 120 degrees. So 121 is in that range. So that is definitely something you want to check when you're doing your water heater service. Just make sure that your temperature's, you know, right around 120 degrees. If it's higher than 120 degrees, then you need to check your thermostat on the water heater. It could be faulty. If it's going higher than that, then you probably should change it out. They need to be set at 120. We're all set. That's the 6-gallon Suburban water heater maintenance.